It's the John Phillips Show. Johnny's on vacation. He'll be back in a week. It's Randy Wang here, and the phone number to join us is 800-222-5222, 1-800-222-5222. You can email us at johnnydon'tlikeshow@gmail.com and search for the John Phillips Show wherever you get your podcasts. It's the end of an era, not just in San Francisco politics, but in California politics, and you could argue politics in this country, as Nancy Pelosi, the former Speaker of the House, announced that she is giving it up. She is not running for re-election.
That is why I want you, my fellow San Franciscans.
Who produces these videos with those such loud soundtracks that you cannot hear the 86-year-old woman?
That is why I want you, my fellow San Franciscans, to be the first to know. I will not be seeking re-election to Congress. With a grateful heart, I look forward to my final year of service as your proud representative.
There you go. Nancy Pelosi is out. Her first race was in 1987, and she rose all the way to be Speaker of the House twice and is finally giving it up.
Karen, why are you doing this?
I hit two Pelosi drops at the same time. And this is not only, is this a couple of things that are very important. One, it's nice to see any octogenarian politician from any party willingly give up their power. Appreciate to see that. Would like to see more of that. It would have been a shame if Pelosi went the way of Di-Fi and just kept going until her brain turned to mush and she died in office. So good on that. But this is a huge hit for the Democrat Party because even though she hasn't been Speaker or she's not even the minority leader in Congress, she has been and will continue to be the most effective fundraiser that the Democrats have ever had. And I don't think anybody is going to be replacing her. Of course, now this means that Scott Wiener's got a fairly decent chance of replacing her in Congress. He announced that he's running a couple of weeks ago. It's either going to be him or it's that guy that was a secretary for AOC that lives in San Francisco. He announced he's running a while ago, I guess to be further to the left than Scott Wiener. But now that Pelosi's out, I got to imagine there's a lot of people that are looking to run for that very influential seat in Congress. Let's stay in San Francisco, where there's a little bit of a controversy. It happens to do with something that San Francisco is known for. San Francisco is the home to tech and innovation. San Francisco is where the future, Gavin Newsom likes to say that California is the nation's coming attraction. San Francisco is California's coming attraction, for good and for bad. But one of the things that I would say objectively for good is San Francisco was the original testing ground for autonomous cars. The Waymos are everywhere now, and it's almost like now when you visit San Francisco, it's a rite of passage. You've got to get on a Waymo. The experience is super scary the first time that you do it, and then you're sitting back there, you're picking your music, and you're realizing, wow, this Waymo drives better than me. And the Waymo cars can be patient because I very much remember being in the back of a Waymo, going to our hotel, the Hilton in the Chinatown area, and having the Waymo be very patient behind bicyclists that were taking up way too much of the road. So I really enjoy that. One of my favorite things the last time we visited San Francisco was taking a Waymo to Golden Gate Park and then hiking around what I consider one of the most beautiful parks in the entire state. That's a good time. But not everybody loves the Waymos in San Francisco. There has been controversy that we've covered, including the places where the Waymos are supposed to park and charge overnight, constantly honking at each other in the middle of the night to make sure they don't hurt each other or hit each other. And now in the Mission, there is a little bit of a Waymo tragedy as Waymo has taken a life. Not a human life, but Waymo hit a cat. a bodega cat. And there are some people that are using this as an opportunity to say, maybe we don't want Waymo in our neighborhoods. I don't know how that's going to work, but let's find out what's happening. It's the story of the Waymo and Kit Kat, the bodega cat. Here is KPIX in the Bay.
The death of a beloved neighborhood cat is prompting a new push to regulate the ever-expanding robo-taxi industry. So last week we told you about Kit Kat, who was hit and killed by a Waymo in San Francisco's Mission District.
Apparently, the Waymo was peeling out, and Cat's got a cat and run out in front of a moving car. I don't know if a human would have been able to react to that, because unfortunately, these kind of things happen all the time. If you can get an AI to understand cats, that is a move. That would be a major advancement in technology. But of course, this is horrible. This poor kitty was, who knows why it was running into the street. Again, you cannot understand cats. Nobody can, nobody ever will. But maybe Waymo will be able to improve their technology to even be able to sense something like that. I don't know.
Well, now the supervisor who represents the mission is demanding the state give voters the power to choose if they want autonomous vehicles on their streets.
How is that going to work? And the whole time you listen to this story, you have to wonder, is this a legitimate policy discussion that Jackie Fielder, the supervisor for the mission, wants us to have? Or is this a way for Jackie Fielder, the supervisor for the mission, to get a whole bunch of attention? Because you know what makes people pay attention? Poor kitty getting run over by a robocar.
Our Brad Hamilton looks at how supporters hope the resolution will provide accountability.
You know how many overdoses of people happen in the mission every day, right? Or the selling of stolen goods or other crimes that are going on. But sure, we're getting a whole bunch of people to rally for the bodega cat. And again, I'm an animal lover. If this was a dog, no question, Waymo would be outlawed. But who can predict the behavior of a cat?
Mike Sedan owns Randa's Market on 16th Street. He also owned a cat named Kit Kat, who needed no introduction around the Mission District.
He brought so much joy and warmth and peace to everyone who met him. He brought people together.
Mike was...
Okay, I think he's in mourning, so we'll give him a pass. He might be overselling it a little bit.
He brought people together.
Mike was at home last week when he learned that Kit Kat had been hit and killed by a Waymo vehicle. For him, the loss was devastating. But he also made clear his thoughts on Waymo's role in the matter were about safety, not politics.
You know, I'm not a politician. I don't know anything about legislation. I just hope and pray that these cars would be safer for animals and a human.
And I think we can all agree that is something that I hope Waymo is striving towards, making sure their technology prevents all kinds of accidents. You know, if you look at the way these things work, right now the danger is that the robocars are interacting with the human cars, and human cars are full of human drivers that are, in California, fairly terrible at the act of driving. I'm on California freeways every day. I see how terrible everybody is at this. But yes, we've got to improve those sensors. But notably notice the bodega owner, the owner of this cat, he's not the one calling for any change in the law. Who is, you ask?
Whether he wanted it or not, the politics surrounding what happened arrived at his storefront on Wednesday.
This wasn't him calling Jackie Fielder and saying, I need you to make an issue out of this. I need you to represent me. This is Jackie Fielder finding an opportunity to promote Jackie Fielder.
Society, traffic.
As District 9 Supervisor, Jackie Fielder held a press conference outside the store to call for new regulations that would allow local voters control over regulations of robo-taxis.
Okay, how does that work?
That is why today...
Let's think about her plan here. She would like the state to pass a law that means individual neighborhoods like, I don't know, the Mission in San Francisco can say, we vote and we don't want autonomous vehicles in our neighborhood. So then what happens if you get in a Waymo and you're in North Beach and you want to get to the Mission? Well, we can't drop you off there. How about Soma?
That is why today at the San Francisco Board of Supervisors, I'm introducing a resolution calling on the California legislature and the governor to give voters the power to decide for themselves whether autonomous vehicles should be allowed to operate on our roads.
She's in the same language as Prop 50.
And this would not have
Fielder
happened
was joined by a number of local leaders, including members of the Teamsters Union, all with a similar refrain.
If I ran a red light, I'm getting a ticket, I'm getting in trouble, got to go to traffic school. They run red lights and there's no accountability.
Do Waymos run red lights? Not often. You know, there also is no accountability. People setting Waymos on fire. I still don't understand that one.
I'm getting a ticket, I'm getting in trouble, got to go to traffic school. They run red lights and there's no accountability.
But there is some criticism of Fielder's proposal. San Jose State professor Ahmed Benafa told us this kind of move could stifle innovation when it comes to autonomous driving. He also explained a potential logistics nightmare of making this a city-by-city decision.
Some of them will allow it, some of them will say no, some of them will limit, the time when...
Imagine if Lyft or Uber worked this way, and there were certain cities and certain neighborhoods in cities that you could not get dropped off at. That makes the entire operation a lot less efficient.
The time when they will be on the streets. And this can create a lot of confusion. And this is basically infringe on the whole, two big entities in the state, the DMV and the CPUC, the California Public Utilities Commission.
Waymo itself had issued a statement last week saying they'd make a donation to local animal rights organizations in the cat's honor. However, it was pretty clear to see today this community wants more.
Waymo's CEO said that society will accept a death caused by a robo-taxi. Here in the Mission, we will not.
But for the man who owned KitKat, well, he has a business to run. He'll leave talk of the legislation to the legislator.
Again, the owner of the cat is not the one asking for this.
And let support from his neighbors in the Mission District get him through this tough time.
Support and love we have received and seen from this community it has been overwhelming. It's inspiring. It's touching.
We did reach out to Waymo for a response to the proposed legislation from Supervisor Fielder, but have not heard back at this time.
So there you go. That's what's going on in the Mission. I'd love to hear what you think about this. Why don't you give us a call right now at 800-222-5222, 1-800-222-5222. A bodega cat named Kit Kat was run over by a Waymo. It ran out in front of it when it was peeling out of a parking space. The San Francisco supervisor for the Mission, Jackie Fielder, says the state should propose legislation that allows neighborhoods to vote if they want to ban Waymos. What do you think? Should neighborhoods be able to ban autonomous cars? Or is this Jackie Fielder doing a bunch of nonsensical grandstanding? What do you think? 800-222-5222. 1-800-222-5222. Should neighborhoods be able to decide if they want to ban robocars, or is this a bunch of grandstanding nonsense? 800-222-5222. 1-800-222-5222. Get on the line right now. I want to hear what you think about this. It's the John Phillips Show. We're taking your phone calls at 800-222-5222, 1-800-222-5222. Tragic story in the Mission in San Francisco where a Waymo peeled out and a bodega cat ran in front of it, got run over, got killed. While the owner doesn't want anything to happen because of this outside of Waymo improving their technology, Supervisor for the Mission, Jackie Fielder, says Sacramento needs to pass legislation that would allow neighborhoods to ban robo-taxis. What say you? Is that a legitimate thing we should be looking at, or is this Jackie Fielder trying to make a name for herself? 800-222-5222, 1-800-222-5222. Let's start with Petri in Rio Vista. Petri, hello.
Hey there, what's happening? I just have to bring something into consideration here is we need to know what color of the cat it was in case it was a black cat and there was something evil or nefarious going on with a suicidal mission. And you also need to consider Waymo that if this is the first cat that they've killed, that they need to now have a sticker on the side of the vehicle as number one. And if any more happen, more stickers need to be applied. And the other part that needs to be considered and remembered is meow, 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 meow.
Thank you so much for the call, Petri. Appreciate it. Just in case you're curious, Kit Kat was a striped tabby. 800-222-5222 is the telephone number. Do you think, based on this incident, that neighborhoods should be able to ban robo-taxis? Let's go to Ray in Palos Verdes. Ray, hello.
Hello. There was a story in the news a few years ago, and there was a man driving down the street. Dog dashed down the street. He swerved to miss the dog, and he hit the kid chasing the dog. So
oh, my goodness.
Driving, there's difficult decisions to make, and when I was teaching my son to drive, I told him, go. When you swerve for an animal, be very careful.
That's a really, really, really good point. Thanks so much for the call, Ray. Appreciate it. And it's something to think about is, I drive in Southern California streets every single day, and I don't think it's every day, but almost every single day I see roadkill. It's awful. It's horrible. It's usually squirrels. But this happens all the time with the human cars and the human drivers, and I don't see any San Francisco supervisors getting outraged about this. So I think this is a little bit of an overreaction. That being said, I feel awful that this cat got run over. 800-222-5222 is the telephone number. Let's go to Tim in San Francisco. Tim, hello.
Hi, Randy. I'm a 77 native San Franciscan. I'm also a cat lover. I absolutely love cats. Had them all my life. It's tragic what happened, but you stole my thunder when you said this happens hundreds of times a day by human drivers. Anyway, my point is a little off the subject here, but I want to warn people about Scott Wiener if I could.
Of course.
This guy, he's most likely going to be elected in place of Nancy Pelosi. I'm glad to see her go, but this guy, I'm warning everybody right now, he has never met a tax that he didn't like. He has introduced more measures in the state legislature to raise taxes one way or another, and I'm just warning people, and that's all I've got to say. Thanks for taking my call.
Well, and thanks so much for warning everybody. To that point, already something that Scott Wiener got passed that's going to be on the ballot in the Bay for the 5 major Bay Area counties in 2026 is a tax increase to fund all the transit agencies. 800-222-5222, phone number 1-800-222-5222. Do you think neighborhoods should be allowed to ban robo-taxis? That's what Jackie Fielder wants to do. Weigh in right now. 800-222-5222. It's Randy Wang here on The John Phillips Show. It's Randy Wang here. The phone number to join us, 800-222-5222, 1-800-222-5222. A bodega cat named Kit Kat got run over by a Waymo. According to Waymo, as the car was in front of the bodega ready to pick up passengers, the cat ran under it, and then when the car went to peel out, it ran over the cat. And as we all know, anyone that lives in a neighborhood with cats love to be under cars. Jackie Fielder, the San Francisco supervisor, has taken this as an opportunity to say Sacramento needs to pass a law that would allow local neighborhoods to ban robo-taxis. What say you? Should local neighborhoods be able to ban robo-taxis, or is this Jackie Fielder grandstanding? 800-222-5222, 1-800-222-5222. Rick writes in at johnnydon'tlikeshow@gmail.com. Hey, Randy, this is a performative act by Fielder. Since Wiener is now running for Nancy's seat, it appears Fielder is eyeing Wiener's soon-to-be vacated state Senate seat. I think you make a strong argument. Let's go to the phones and go to Helen in Newark. Helen, hello.
Hi, thank you. My comment is mainly all the attention that's being exerted, or I would like to see more effort placed on acceptance of this is a community cat. And obviously people care. Other countries are more cat friendly. They leave water bowls out. The animal is just part of the community. And in this case, Kit Kat obviously was. Yes, he was killed. Those are almost the trade-offs, if you will, if you have an animal living amongst you. So I don't like the snide joke that people are making. Respectfully, people love their animal, but I believe effort should be toward more awareness of the beauty of a community animal, and not to bar Waymos, for goodness sake.
Well, thanks so much for the call, Helen. Appreciate it. It's tragic what happened here. Hopefully we can improve the technology to make sure it doesn't happen again. But I don't know if banning the Waymo is going to make the mission any safer, considering how often this happens with human drivers. Let's go to Robert in Santa Clara. Robert, hello.
Hey, Randy. I'm one of these old-fashioned guys. I don't think that whatever science can do, they feel they must do, should be implemented in the name of making money, or that it's clever. I like employment. I'm a classicist. You can't reinvent society, human nature. So I want to curate jobs and perennial jobs. And the Uber thing's been really good for people. It saved their lives, given a lot of people an ability to make a living. And this is just competition with regular, normal human beings. And I also feel bad for the cat. I understand. I think that whole thing about being sensitive to cats is great. And whether she's grandstanding or not, Scott Wiener, we got Saka Chaka Browdy, we got all a bunch of Justice Democrats to worry about. And that they conflict each other with these feel-good things. But, they're trying to get us into 15-minute cities and stacking packs. And it's just, I'm done with all that. I like diversity of homes and living arrangements and the ability for people to make a living. You can have a few Waymos, good luck. But I like to patronize a real driver. That's what I feel.
Hey, and you totally have your choice to do that. Thanks so much for the call, Robert. Appreciate it. The one thing I would say, and you'll hear this from so many Uber and Lyft drivers, is when this thing first started, they can make a living wage at this. Nowadays, it's a heck of a lot harder. And part of the reason is, well, a lot of the money that Lyft and Uber make have been directly investing in technology like this. In fact, Uber announced just a few weeks ago that they are starting their own competing robo-taxi. Where? In San Francisco. 800-222-5222 is the telephone number. Based on the bodega cat that got killed in San Francisco after it ran under a Waymo when it was peeling out, Supervisor Jackie Fielder says neighborhoods should be able to ban robo-taxis. What say you? 800-222-5222. 1-800-222-5222. Let's go to Lorraine in San Jose. Lorraine, hello.
Hello.
Hi.
Hi, my name is Lorraine in San Jose, and I think we should ban cats because dogs have to be either on a leash in some cities or in their yard. Cats can roam freely anywhere and everywhere. And since, the 1800s and the Audubon Society, about half the birds, the exotic birds in this country have been killed by free-roaming cats. So I think the people that own the cats should take the responsibility to keep them inside or in their cattyco. That's my comment.
Well, thanks so much for the call, Lorraine. Appreciate it. I have an indoor cat. I would never let my cat outside. And the reason for that is because my neighborhood, like so many neighborhoods now in California, has coyotes that wander through it. And I noticed ever since the coyotes took over, there's a lot fewer cats in my neighborhood than there used to be. But yeah, I think having an indoor cat is great. Nowadays, I don't understand outdoor, indoor, but there's always going to be stray cats out there as well. And for some reason, they love to go under cars. Again, if you can get the AI to understand how a cat's brain works, it'll be a breakthrough in technology because no human has been able to understand that yet. Let's go to Bob in Vacaville. Bob, hello.
Hey, Randy. Thanks for taking the call. I think this is going to be a neighborhood or a city HOA. And if you open this door, it's going to be a can of worms, and people are going to come up with all kinds of silly little laws that are going to take over everything. So I would say no, not at all. One more comment, too, on homelessness. I drive around the Bay Area, and I've been down in Palo Alto with RV after RV on streets where people are living sort of homeless. And apparently one of the managers of this building that I was at says, yeah, the van lady takes care of them. I said, the van lady? Yeah, she owns several of them. She has a couple guys that make sure that everything works in them. Or if something goes wrong, they rents them out on the street to the homeless. I never knew that happened. That's all.
Oh, thanks so
Randy.
much for the call,
Bye.
Bob. Appreciate it. And that is a phenomenon. We saw it a lot in Southern California, but it's expanded in Northern California. This idea of van lords, where there are people that go to police auctions because these RVs take up a lot of space, and for $50, they buy a derelict RV and put it out on the street, rent it for $500 to a homeless person. And when the homeless person doesn't pay, they light the RV on fire. And yeah, he's right. Palo Alto has seen a massive explosion in homeless RVs. In Palo Alto, what's going on? 800-222-5222 is the telephone number. Let's go to Ron in Rodeo. Ron, hello.
Hello, I got two comments. I think the San Francisco, that wants to set up some rules, why don't she talk to Gavin Newsom and maybe have the people that don't speak English, that can't read signs, that are truck drivers and killing people, why don't she spend more energy on that? Oh, I think I know why. Because it's Gavin or Newsom.
That's a really good point. There are definitely a lot of other priorities that the supervisor could tackle if her big concern is road safety, whether it's for humans or for bodega cats. 800-222-5222 is the telephone number. Let's go to Mark in San Diego. Mark, hello.
Hey, Randy. The bottom line is it's here to stay. It's coming. We saw it coming. You could just watch Star Wars. No droids. Well, you don't get a choice. Eventually, they're here. And it's not going to be a local issue. Eventually, they'll be landing on your doorstep with something that flies. So you don't have a choice. It's just no droids. Take care of your cats. I'm glad that you are thinking about those coyotes. I heard about it from you before. I hope you got a nice air horn to take with you on a walk and blast those guys out of there. But this is here to stay. There's nothing we can do about it.
No, the technology is moving way faster than anyone will ever be able to regulate it, and that is all exciting and scary at the same time. Thanks so much for the call, Mark. Appreciate it. By the way, Waymo announced this week that they are expanding to San Diego. So I think that's pretty cool. Let's go to Jerry in Newark. Jerry, hello.
Hi, good afternoon. When I used to work at the post office in Milpitas, California, part of the post office training is if we ran over a dog, we would have to stay there and file a report with the police because they're considered property. But if we ran over a cat, we could just move on and deliver our mail throughout the day because they're just considered feral.
That's fascinating.
I'm not sure if it's just for that city, but I imagine that it's the protocol for all the U.S. postal mail carriers.
Wow, I never thought of something like that, but that is very interesting. Thanks so much for the call, Jerry. Appreciate it. I mean, there's typically a lot more loose cats than loose dogs. But the thing is, not all loose cats are feral. Some people have indoor-outdoor cats. I got a friend who has an indoor cat and has an outdoor cat, and the outdoor cat occasionally comes to the house because it got beat up in fights because it fights with the other outdoor cats. Cats are fascinating. Let's go to David in Westwood. David, hello.
Yeah, I don't know what these, Waymo, what they use, a camera or something to tell whether it's living or not, but, it could have been a human being, you know what I'm saying, that next time that it hits. So this time I'm siding with her. If we can slow it down, I know what they're coming, but the automation, but, if she can legislate against it, I'm all for that.
Thanks so much for the call, David. Appreciate it. We got one supporter for this. It is interesting. If you're in one of these things, you can see on the map in the console what the sensors are detecting, and it actually will show icons of like people walking their dogs. It picks up on that. And the thing you have to think about is these things have been running around San Francisco for many years now. They're also in Phoenix. They're now in parts of Los Angeles. They're in Austin. This is the first time this has ever happened. Roadkill happens every single day based on human drivers. I just don't think it's equal. Sure, maybe there was some way this was preventable, and I hope we improve the technology. 800-222-5222 is the telephone number. 1-800-222-5222. A bodega cat got run over by a Waymo when it ran under the Waymo as it was pulling out. This has inspired Supervisor Jackie Fielder to call for legislation that would allow neighborhoods to ban robo-taxis. What say you? 800-222-5222. 1-800-222-5222. If you're on hold, stay there. We're getting to more of your calls next. It's Randy Wang here on The John Phillips Show. It's Randy Wang here. We're taking your phone calls at 800-222-5222. Supervisor Jackie Fielder, in response to a bodega cat that got run over by a Waymo, wants Sacramento to write and pass legislation that would allow neighborhoods to ban robo-taxis. Let's get back to the phones and go to Deborah in Mission Viejo. Deborah, hello.
Hello there. How you doing?
Doing great.
Okay, so that's kind of a knee-jerk reaction to want to ban the cars. It's kind of bizarre. They have sensors all over them. Why not have a sensor underneath that can detect, heat or detect something under there?
That's a really brilliant idea. And it's almost, you see those things when they're driving around and they've got the big spinning sensor on the top. And when you're inside, it shows you everything that it's sensing around the car. But you're right. They need to put something underneath the car and they might be able to figure this one out immediately.
I would think they can do that easily. I would think they've got this kind of technology. That seems like a no-brainer.
I think that would solve the problem, make everybody happy. Thanks so much for the call, Deborah. Appreciate it. Look at that. Working collaboratively instead of, let's ban this technology that's going to change the world from one specific neighborhood in San Francisco. Let's go to, by the way, and it's interesting too, right? There is a part of Soma where they close traffic to cars, and Daniel Lurie just opened traffic, not to regular cars, but to rideshare and to Waymo. Let's go to Cardi in Lancaster. Cardi, hello.
Hey, Randy, how you doing?
Doing great.
Hey, so I got 2 quick points. Number one, hey, I'm sorry for the cat, but unfortunately, cats and dogs get hit all the time, whether it's a Waymo or a human error. Number one, I get it. I love animals. Number two, I believe Jackie Fiedler should worry about possibly ending the homelessness and start legislation on that to find out where the $27 billion went, and nothing's happened. So it's pretty ridiculous.
I think you make a really good point about the misplaced priorities when it comes to the supervisor of the mission. Thanks so much for the call. Appreciate it. The mission has a lot of problems. Illegal vending, homelessness, the open-air drug markets, just to name a few. And those are way more of an impact into the quality of life of her constituents than this specific case. But this story went viral because, of course it did. Cats, internet. And so Jackie Fielder is trying to get a little piece of that. Maybe it's to run for Scott Wiener's seat. Maybe, according to Ray, who writes in at johnnydon'tlikeshow@gmail.com, she's doing this to get donations from Waymo. Let's go back to the phones and go to Sylvester and Reseda. Sylvester, hello.
Hi, Randy. I am surprised. I've never heard of San Francisco being so supportive of cats in the past. They usually are very anti up there in San Francisco.
Thanks so much. Yeah, had to dump that one. And Marshall, I know when it's you calling. I get to bleep that one out for the podcast. If you ever wonder what gets dumped on KSFO airwaves or KABC airwaves, I usually bleep it for the podcast. So search for The John Phillips Show wherever you get your podcasts. That was, you know what? We took so many calls that we're able to take this topic seriously. We were bound to have someone do that. Let's go to Gene in San Jose. Gene, hello.
Hi. Yeah, I think that the cats that have homes usually aren't that hungry, and it's the feral cats that are eating the birds. Although once in a while our cat, will get a bird. And another thing, when my boyfriend and I were down in a desert center, I think it was north of 10. We were on a road trip, and we saw all these dead dogs with, bloated. They hadn't been picked up or anything. Have you ever noticed that sort of situation?
I haven't seen something like that specifically, but I've heard of stories like that, and there's a lot of horrible things that we see on the roads to all kinds of animals. Thanks so much for the call, Gene. Appreciate it. Let's go to Wayne in Rohnert Park. Wayne, hello.
How you doing?
Doing great.
Hey, my question is animal related, but it's not cats, it's dogs. And what I was wondering is that I see a lot of people now, I think it's kind of a trendy thing, where people are bringing their dogs with them, to the corner store to drop their kids off and whatever. But a lot of times they're in the back seat and they might be seatbelted, which is obviously safe. But a lot of times, probably most of the times, I see them running around the inside of the car where the person's driving, sometimes in the dash, sometimes, looking out the front window. And I think it's hard to understand that if you can get arrested or get a ticket for having a cell phone, which obviously is not alive, and a dog that's jumping all over the car, I'm surprised they haven't done anything there.
Well, now we're giving them ideas, how to create more ideas for tickets. But I do see what you're talking about there. Thanks so much for the call. I've got 2 dogs, and they're very good in the back of the car when we take them to a patio because they like to go. They like to go to restaurants and go sit under the table. We have a little portable dog bed. It makes them happy, and it gives us an excuse to get out of the house. But ours are well behaved. There's a dog bed in the car, and they sleep in it. Some people seatbelt their dogs. You could do that as well. But yes, to your point, it can be quite a distraction if you've got a nervous dog that's running around everywhere in your car while you're driving. But let's not give Sacramento any new ideas on what to ticket. Thank you all so much for the calls and for the emails. What a fun discussion. Rest in peace, Kit Kat, the bodega cat.